Hello, everybody. Welcome to the class. This is Social Problems at Macomb Community College, winter 2026. That's a weird thing to say. I feel like every time in a new year, it feels weird saying the new year. So I'm your professor, your instructor for this class. My name is Michael Saba. I go by Mike or Dr. Saba. I do have a PhD. I actually just defended last year in around this time. Actually, it was like I defended my dissertation in December of actually 2024, but it feels like 2025, and then I walked in the 25 ceremony. So as of May this last year, I finally finished my PhD. It took me almost 10 years, but I finally did it. I did my PhD at Wayne State in the sociology department, obviously. My main research topic was on tax foreclosure and dispossession and demolitions in the city of Detroit. So I was looking at a lot of the tax foreclosure records. You may have heard about this. This has kind of been like an ongoing fiasco, scandal, social problem, some may say, in the city for some time about overassessments, people getting their homes taken away for. First off, many of them had illegitimate debts from these overassessed properties, and then properties end up going through tax foreclosure. They get sold off to speculators, get foreclosed again, is what I found in my research. There's a lot of churn in the tax foreclosure system. And then they end up getting demolished in the end because in the process, the house gets stripped of everything of value. You know, many of you, you're all likely live here in the Metro Detroit area. You're all probably familiar with these blocks in Detroit where you see like one or two houses left on the block. Most of that is a result of tax foreclosure, is actually what caused a lot of that hollowing out of neighborhoods. I live in the city. I live in one of those neighborhoods. I live in Northwest Detroit in a neighborhood called Grandmont Rosedale. My neighborhood is very secure. It's a long-standing neighborhood. It's been a long history of like people staying here, living in the community, a pretty diverse neighborhood in the sense that it's not just a black neighborhood like most of Detroit, which, for the record, white people, we know through research, are typically the only group that want to live in homogenous neighborhoods. As we've seen, like, there's countless research projects that have shown that any other ethnic group wants to live in diverse communities. They want to have a whole bunch of everybody. The only groups that really only want homogenous neighborhoods are white folks, white American folks. And we see that here in Grandmont Rosedale. There's actually it's quite a diverse neighborhood. Like, I'm Arab and my wife is white, and we have black neighbors, we have Hispanic neighbors, Mexican, all kinds of different people living around here. And it's very nice. And it's nice. We have two kids, and it's nice being part of this community. Um, Actually, I just had a son, another son. So I have two boys, and so now I have a 3 month old and a 3 year old. So it's very chaotic in this house. I also work a full time job, just like most of the part time instructors here at Macomb. We also work full time jobs. So I work for an organization called Lakeshore Legal Aid. Some of you may be familiar with us, with Lakeshore, if you've ever had services from Lakeshore. So basically, we provide legal services, so non-criminal legal services for poor people, elderly people, survivors of domestic violence, human trafficking, um, everybody going through the eviction process in the city of Detroit. You may have heard about this program called Right to Counsel in the city of Detroit. And what that means is everybody that's going through eviction court is guaranteed legal representation. So we provide, my organization, Lakeshore Legal Aid, we provide about half of the legal representation for the Right to Counsel program. So I manage the data operation at Lakeshore. So I handle all the data collection and gathering, putting together all the reporting back to our funders, like the City of Detroit, numerous others. And it's a nonprofit, obviously. And yeah, like I said, the main idea is that you're guaranteed a lawyer if you go through criminal court. So like everybody that goes through the Constitution guarantees that everybody that's going through criminal court is guaranteed legal representation. Like if you are charged with a felony or a misdemeanor or whatever. Um, but that's not the case for non-criminal matters, like divorce or child custody or, gosh, I mean, you name it, probate court, eviction, rental evictions, things like that. And my organization, the organization I work for, Lakeshore. In the past I worked for United Community Housing Coalition in the city of Detroit, which was similar but only focused on housing in the city of Detroit. And they're actually who does about the other half of the right to counsel work in the city is performed by UCHC. So it's all to say that I'm very invested in the kind of on the ground aspect, so to speak, of the kind of meat of this course. And I would argue in the field of sociology, it's I feel like what I'm doing is kind of like what I do professionally with Lakeshore is kind of like an applied, I don't know, it's like applied version of my training as a sociologist, and the quantitative training that I received in my master's program and my PhD program has really kind of put me in a position to do well in this role as a data analyst at Lakeshore. So anyway, so that's about me. I actually, to be very honest with you all, I have not taught this. I've been teaching pretty consistently since like 2014. However, I haven't taught social problems, and I've wanted to teach social problems for a long time now because it's like what got me. I think anybody that's in the social sciences, in sociology in particular, you come to the field because there's a social problem that you care very deeply about. For me, it was housing. Housing I care very strongly about. My family are immigrants. We've always struggled with housing. I grew up in government housing. I've always seen my friends and my family and everybody like struggle with staying put in a house, and thankfully now we're like very stable. We have a roof over our heads, and my family is all good now. But it was a big part of like my upbringing, and again, kind of what led me into my PhD program. So I've wanted to teach this class for some time, but I've taught a lot of sections of intro, and some of you I don't know, maybe some of you have had me as your intro instructor, and I would, happy to see you back if you are in my class. But intro is fun, and I really do like teaching intro. However, like I said, I've really wanted to teach social problems because it is so focused on the issues that are kind of on all of our minds in society. Like, you name it. Like, you could go talk to like somebody working at the Taco Bell down the street from you. They're going to have an opinion about education, and they're going to be affected by all of these things. Just like you all that are sitting in this class. Clearly, you're all affected by education, but you're also going to be affected by gun control, housing, gender issues, sexuality issues, like all the kind of topics that we will be discussing in this class. Mental health, alcohol, drugs, crime, just kind of doing a quick little overview here from the class. So I just want to make a couple statements. So this video I'm recording right now, this is the syllabus review. So this is going to be kind of a longer one, and I do apologize for that. I taught an online class at U of M Flint some years ago, and I remember my, I guess, boss or whatever, the person that I like reported to in the department, kind of scolded me for recording too long of videos. And then I got feedback from the students that like they really liked having these longer videos because it gave a lot of information. And I think in an online class you don't really get that that depth of knowledge from your instructor that you do in the classroom setting. And I think to myself, like, people love like Joe Rogan, and he records like 3-hour YouTube videos. Like, you all can listen to or watch this like 20-minute or 30-minute video. Just put it on in the background. I'm gonna upload this to YouTube. I don't make any money out. There's like 20 views at most on these videos, so it's not like I'm making any money off of this. But unfortunately, so anyway, this video that I'm recording right now, this is going to be the syllabus review video. So this is going to be kind of long because I'm going to eventually make my way to getting into the syllabus. But then I'm also going to record a weekly check-in video, and then those weekly check-in videos I'm going to do one of those every week, hence the weekly part of it, just to kind of go over the stuff from the class, like what's going on. And those will probably be like 5-ish minutes, maybe 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, somewhere in that range each week. So this is an outlier for sure, because I'm going to review the syllabus and kind of yammer on about what I already did, about who I am and where I'm coming from, and then talk about the stuff as it relates to this class. So switching over. So here's what you'll see. Actually, let me do view a student here. So you'll see I'll see what you see. This is what you'll see when you log into the Canvas class. I would direct you to go to the welcome, where you get your welcome. This gives you a little bit of a overview here of who I am, and so on and so forth. Please, please communicate with me through the inbox here on Canvas. I would greatly appreciate that, because I get notified on my phone. I do get notified of emails, but for some reason, Macomb's email keeps getting messed up in my Outlook. I don't know if you guys all have the same problem too, but I have it set up in my Outlook app on my phone, and every so often I just like miss emails, and it's really frustrating. And I had a situation like last semester or something, or a couple semesters ago, that I missed some student emails, and it was just very annoying. So please, please just communicate with me through the Canvas messenger system. Like, it's more reliable. I'm always on Canvas. I'm not always loading my email. Like, I always come into Canvas to do grading and to check things in the class and, whatever. So I'm always in here. So if I see a notification, if there's a notification, I will always see it. So please communicate with me through the messenger system built into Canvas here. So when you come into this class, you'll see this welcome, and then if you come over here to the syllabus, here's kind of a quick access to the syllabus. Here's just a quick overview of everything in the class that's due. If you click this link, it'll load the syllabus in the reader here. I already have it pulled up because I made it, so I can just pull it up from my computer. So pull it up however you'd like. So to start with, the textbook is the Understanding Social Problems textbook. This is in the library at both campuses, I guess, and you can order it online. I'm making the 11th. This is brand new as of 2026. Like, it's like brand spanking new. So the last edition was in 2022, so that's actually pretty current for a textbook. Like, I've definitely used textbooks older than 4 years for a class. I was able to find the 11th edition, the previous edition, that's here as a PDF, just as a courtesy. If you would like to use it, I was a pretty broke undergrad. I appreciated not having to buy. I worked full time when I was an undergrad, so I definitely know what that's like. If you're okay, the material's 95% the same. There's some new material, some new and interesting material that they've added about, since this is 2026, they've added some things from the last year of the Trump administration, which I do think is interesting. I haven't gotten to review all of it yet. I'm a little worried if it's going to be a little bit reactionary. I don't know, but because I think sometimes it's easy to, when you're in the moment, to like make a bigger deal out of things than they actually are. But anyway, if you're the type of person that you like to have a physical textbook, I encourage you to use the newest edition. Go down to the campus library, or get a copy off Amazon, or wherever you typically get your textbooks. It is the most current. However, this is here. If you don't mind using a PDF ebook version, this is here for you to use, and by all means, go ahead and use it. It's really big. It's like 700 some pages, so you're going to need to download it and kind of parse through it. As you will. This is like such an intense photo that they picked for the cover here. I have been to protests that are like this, and a lot of protests do end up like this, but this is kind of funny that that's what they chose. I wonder if this is like a staged photo or if they actually pulled that from a protest. Anyway, so that's the textbook. It's pretty good. I was reading over some of it yesterday, and I think it's very good. I want to be very clear that, like, we're talking about things that are very, some would say controversial, in the sense that there's some controversy around a lot of these topics. I don't want to tread into those waters. I frankly don't care. Well, let me say, okay, I do care what your opinions are. Your opinions are relevant in the sense that they are what is going to guide your interests, and they're what's going to kind of guide your natural analysis of something. But I also want you to stay open-minded to being challenged on some things that you may think that you know, but you're actually wrong. Because I'll tell you this, that I've been wrong a lot when it comes to some of these social issues and some of the research around the social problems that we're going to be talking about in this class. And I just want to make it clear that, like, in this class, what we're really talking about is the research and the debates. I'm not here to kind of push any position or like you should think this way or that way. Frankly, I don't care in the sense of you're entitled to your opinion. Like, but I'm entitled to my opinion. We're all just regular people with our own opinions about these things. And I encourage you to think about your opinion and why you have your opinion, how you arrived at that opinion, and if you're presented with information that challenges your opinion or challenges your beliefs, I just would encourage you to be open-minded to listen to it. And I promise to do the same. That, you know, as you might expect, I'm somebody with a sociology PhD. I'm a pretty like liberal, left-leaning type of person. That probably is not a surprise to anybody here. But I also have a lot of friends that identify as conservatives, people that identify as like sort of like right-wing kind of people. And I feel like as long as you are, and we actually agree on a lot of things. Like, you'd actually be very surprised at how many things that like honest people can agree on, even when they have very different political ideologies. That like actually there's a middle ground. If this is like a big Venn diagram, the left and the right actually agree on probably about 80% of things when it comes to like, we all care about how expensive it is to live. We all want safe communities. We all want safe neighborhoods. We all want to be treated with dignity. We want our parents to be treated with dignity, older people in society. We want fairness in the legal system. Like, there's so many things that regardless of who we're talking about, we probably agree on the fundamental principles. How we get there is probably very different on how I think we would get there versus, say, somebody that identifies as conservative or Republican or, you know, whatever ideology they want to ascribe to. That's going to be quite different, the road to get to that path. But when we talk about, like, if you kind of close your eyes a little bit and think about, like, what is the goal, we probably all agree that we have, like, the same end goal. Dignity, being able to afford life, having safe communities, being able to raise your kids in the way that you want to raise them without being told how to raise them. Like, these are kind of all things that everybody universally agrees on. Okay, so that's my, like, disclaimer about this class. Like, yes, please hold your opinions and hold them close and protect them, but also just be open to different ideologies that may be different to yours and that may teach you something that could even strengthen your existing beliefs and make you kind of confirm why you believe what you believe, if you know, whatever. Anyway, that's kind of all I have to say about that. So this course is sociological analysis of major social problems in society, as I said. In this class, we're going to be using the textbook. There's going to be PowerPoints that are from the textbook that I have made additions into them and just kind of like put some additional material into them. Like I said, there will be the weekly check-in videos that I will be recording and uploading to YouTube, and I'll put a link in the, every week there will be a link in the content for that week's check-in video. Other online resources like other videos, other readings, things like that. Um, then, okay, we have kind of 3 assessment parts. Simple part are quizzes. So every week there will be, is this covered here? Yes. So every week there will be a quiz that's worth 20 points. And it's timed. I forget exactly what the timer is. I think it's an hour, 45 minutes or an hour. Um, you're welcome to use everything, any resource that's available to you. Use the internet, use your textbook, use whatever, but you need to finish it within the time that's available to you. So I would encourage you, review the material, be prepared, have your materials open and ready if you need reference, but don't plan on referencing every single question because you won't be able to complete it in time. But keep it there for reference in case you need it, you know. There will be 2 essays in the class in week 4 and week 6 that are each worth 50 points. And they are not academic, not in this, they're not like research papers. They're more like one of them I ask you to I forget now what exactly they were. I've just done so much for this class in the last week or so. I will just leave it at that. They're not research papers, so they're more like I want you to talk to your family or talk to friends and then kind of craft a paper around those discussions that you're having. And this sort of leads into my AI policy. This is a drop-in piece of text that I was given from a colleague. My basic stance on AI is I want you guys to use it. By all means, use AI, but don't plagiarize. Don't have AI write things for you. Have it help you in the way that all other technology should help you to be better at what it is that you're doing. So like if you're having trouble writing or you're having trouble getting your thoughts out, talk to ChatGPT, talk to Google Gemini, whatever tool you want to use, and have it help you improve what you're trying to write. But don't tell it like, okay, I need you to write this in 100 words and do this and do this for me, because first it's gonna look like garbage. I'm gonna read it and I'm gonna know immediately that it's AI. Like I've read a lot of AI garbage, just like you probably all have at this point too, and it's very obvious to me when something is written by AI versus when it's written by a person. So please just don't do that. I have a PhD in this topic. I know about where you guys should be at in terms of your writing. I don't expect like the most eloquent, well-written arguments. Like I know you guys are taking a course. This is basically an intro level course at a community college. I don't expect you to be writing at graduate school level for this class. And it just doesn't even make sense because all of the writing tasks, even the essays, are like 3 pages in length. Like you could probably sit down and write that in like 2 or 3 hours max if you really put yourself to it, So it's kind of silly to go through this elaborate exercise of using AI to do this thing that is actually like not a very difficult task to accomplish in the first place. So that's just kind of my disclaimer about it. Please just don't abuse the tools that are available to you. I encourage you to use them. Like I think everybody at this point, you have to figure out how to integrate AI into your life. And I encourage you to do it because it is very helpful. And it will make you a better student if you can do it in a way that still puts yourself as the primary creator of the thing that you're doing, whether if it's like a short answer question or an essay or whatever it is. So yeah, please just like don't, because I will know about it and it will be very annoying and bother me a lot. Whole lot of just kind of standard stuff. This is an 8-week class. The short of version of everything in here is just if you have any problems, just reach out to me. Like I'm a very reasonable person. I'm sure that we can come to some kind of agreement, whatever it is, as long as you're being earnest and honest with me. I guarantee you we will come up with something that is beneficial, and I want to see you all kick ass in this class because this is actually a really fun class. Like we're going to talk about some really hot button issues, and I hope that this class gives you a space to explore them in an intellectual way that's a little like removed from the echo chambers that we all exist in. Like I exist in an echo chamber. You guys probably do too amongst your friend groups and in whatever news media that you consume. It kind of, we have like all sort of segregated ourselves into these little bubbles. And I really hope with this class that through the readings and through the additional materials, it provides a what we would call in sociology what we refer to as like a value-free assessment of a lot of these things, where it's like like I was saying earlier, like it's not like we're trying to push any specific kind of ideology. What we're looking at is like, okay, how do we do research on this topic? What are the debates? Where are the positions? And how do they like suss out, like, are they supported by research? Like, does this, like, let's say, when it comes to like immigration happens to be one of the topics that there's a lot of just false information about, like immigrants perpetrating more crime than natural born citizens in a country, really not just the United States. We could look just about anywhere in the world. It's very, very uncommon to see the immigrant population committing more crimes than the natural born population. It's just like, even however you want to slice up the numbers, whether you talk statistically, percentage wise, or if you talk about raw numbers, I mean, across the board, so the point is, when you have data and you have research that you can actually look at, that is what we ought to be using to kind of guide the positions and to guide the policy, And I think you see it a lot, like going back to immigration, like, you saw during the lead up to the election when Trump and his advisors were saying, we're going to arrest like only criminals, and we're going to, get out the worst of the worst, and all this kind of stuff. And then when they came into office and they started looking around, there's actually not that many criminals to arrest. Now they need to go out into like the strawberry fields, go to the factories, go to the place where a lot of these undocumented immigrant folks are actually working, don't have criminal records. They are here illegally. I mean, that's, something. But they're not like these hardened criminals as they were painted out to be in the kind of rhetoric around the election and stuff. So I feel like that is one spot where a lot of people have had to reckon with the sort of rhetoric versus the reality, And the reality is that most people that are here illegally are just like regular people, just like you and I. I mean, they're just people that have families, people that came here to have a better life. They didn't come here to like kill your neighbor or to like, steal from the grocery store or like whatever. They came here, just to like escape gang violence, escape, my family came here, legally, but, they all came for like the same reasons. Like if anybody else here, your family are immigrants, I'm sure they all came for the same reasons. Like they came because of better opportunities, being able to raise their kids in safety, better educational opportunities, more economic opportunities, all the same stuff. Same reason why black folks left the South after Reconstruction and started heading up to the North. You see it anywhere. It's why people migrate typically, is just for more economic opportunities, safer neighborhoods, better opportunities for their kids. Same stuff everywhere. Anyway, these are just like the kind of basics of what I'm hoping to cover in this class. So using a very standard grading scale. The no-show grades, I'm always a little confused about how to do this. I hope this doesn't apply to anybody here, but I look at when the last item, if you don't submit anything to the class, I will put you in as a no-show. So hopefully that doesn't apply to anybody that's watching this video. And just please keep up on your assignments as you're going along. Yeah, and like I said, I will always respect you. I will respect myself. I will respect your opinions. But please, when you're responding to any of the stuff in the class, please just think about how this can be constructed through research. Because again, this class is not really about opinions. Like I do ask some opinion questions for sure. Like, and I ask like, what do you think about this or that topic? But what I'm really asking for is like, based on the research that you've read or based on the, whatever it is on this topic, what do you think about X, Y, and Z? Oh yeah, I kind of skipped. Oh, here we go. This is actually what I was trying to get to. So we have the quizzes, we have the essays, and then I also have what I call the not quiz questions because of how I have to put them into Canvas as a quiz, but it's actually not a quiz. They're more like open-ended questions, and they're each worth 10 points, up to 10 points. Every week there will be one or two of them, and yeah, I got a little typo right there. They are just open-ended questions about the topics. I do this in lieu of message boards. I personally hate message boards in class. I hated them when I was an undergrad doing message boards. I'm sure you guys hate them. I just don't like them. I mean, that's all it boils down to. I always hated them. I'm sure that like sometimes they're fun and like you can get good conversations going, but I think 99% of the time they're just a drag. So please, this is my way of just getting around it. And I've just yet to be proven wrong that anybody actually likes message boards, because to me, what it reminds me of now are Facebook comment threads. And I feel like you could poll 90 people and 85 of them would hate Facebook message threads. Like there's really just very few people that actually like them, and that's kind of what these message board things feel like to me. So I don't like them. Instead, I'm having you do these once a week questions. I know the only good argument I come against it is that if I take away the message boards, that doesn't really give any opportunity for you all to communicate with each other. And that does kind of pain me a little bit. But again, this is like, it's an online class, and that's just not really like what online classes are good for, in my opinion. I feel like if we were doing that, we would do a virtual class. One of the classes were like a Zoom class. I don't know if Macomb even does those anymore. I remember we did those during the pandemic. But anyway, I hate them, and I think they're very contrived. I would rather have an open space, and you'll be directly responding to me. So I'm going to be the only one reading your responses. Feel free, say whatever you want, and I can handle it. So you don't have to necessarily worry about being polite, politically correct. Don't worry about any of that. I mean, please don't say racist things to me or like use the N-word or something like that. But keep your responses like respectful. But I want to hear your kind of truth. I want to hear like what you genuinely believe on these topics and things. Here's a rubric I kind of put together for the essay assignments. You can take a look at that. This is more on the quizzes. There are some extra credit opportunities that are in the course. You'll see them listed in Canvas too. There's one this week as a syllabus review, actually. So I would encourage you to do that. It's not automatically graded, and I put this in there as a note. So I have to go back and review them all. So it's not like you're instantly going to see your grade on it. If you do it and you get the questions right, you get all the credit anyway. So anyway, this is the overview of all the stuff for the class, just the class calendar, and that's the end of that. So I'm going to wrap this up. I think this has been going for a while now. If you made it this far, thank you. I appreciate it. If you didn't, you wouldn't know me saying that. Still, thank you anyway. But I look forward to having a great semester for you guys. So I'm recording this on Friday before the class starts because I'm done with the syllabus. I'm going to wait till Monday. I still have a couple little tasks that I need to do, and then I'm going to record the actual check-in video on Monday once I make the class live for you guys. So it'll be all like kind of fresh at that point too. So yeah, look forward to a great semester, and let me know if you have any questions about anything. I will talk to y'all later. See ya. Bye.